in my direct manager is...
1, 2, 3, 4.
Trust in my direct manager is the only thing keeping me here. Not the company, not the brand, just my boss. Someone posted that on the Reddit last Friday. 1,156 upvotes in one day. The comments fill in the rest. High performers, senior contributors, the people every organization says it cannot afford to lose, saying the same exact thing. Just one person, just one manager. That's the only thread still holding. I want you to sit with this for a moment. Not the brand, not the mission, not the AI roadmap, not the 5-year strategy. One regulated human being who makes them feel safe enough to stay. Now, hold that. Because that post lives right next to another one from the same week where an employee says, I watch my executive get a new AI dashboard every month. I'm still doing everything manually, but my job depends on adoption. These two posts are the same story. And if you're leading an AI transformation right now and you are only reading the second one, you're missing the whole story. You are listening to AI Cafe Conversations. I'm Sahar Andrade, Neuroleadership coach and Forbes Coach Council member. Today we are talking about why organizations are spending hundreds of millions on AI and losing their best people at the same time, and why those are not separate problems. Gartner published research this week that stopped me. Enterprise AI tools are reaching managers and executives first, not the workers doing the complex daily work that AI is actually supposed to help. The tools are going to the top. The people who are supposed to be adopting are watching. This is not a technology problem, it's a nervous system problem. And by the end of this episode, you will understand exactly why that changes everything about your AI retention strategy. So let's talk about the crisis. What is actually happening? Let me tell you what is forming inside your organization right now. It's not a skills gap. It's not a motivation problem. It's not even a change resistance issue, though that is what most leaders call it when they see it on the surface. It's a divide, an access divide, and it's sending a signal to your best people that most leadership teams are not reading in time. Gartner's research this week confirmed that high performers have been describing for months. AI tools are landing in executive suites and senior management layers first. The frontline specialists, the subject matter experts, the people who do the detailed complex work that AI is supposed to augment, they have been waiting. They're watching the dashboard rollouts and the executive briefings and the quarterly AI updates, and they are doing their daily work the same way they did it last year. Now, I need you to understand what your nervous system does with that information, because it does not process "I do not have access yet" as an administrative fact. It does not file it under IT phased rollout Q3. It treats it as a social threat. Here is the neuroscience for that. Your brain has a threat detection system that runs without your permission. It doesn't just scan for physical danger, it scans for social signals. Every moment of every day, some part of your nervous system is asking, am I valued here? Am I included? Do the people making decisions see me as essential or expendable? This is the polyvagal science. Stephen Porges' research on the autonomic nervous system tells us that human beings are wired to scan social environment for cues of safety and threat. We did not evolve to be solo operators. We evolved in social groups where inclusion meant survival and exclusion meant danger. This is not a metaphor. That wiring is still live. It runs in your employees' bodies right now, in every meeting, in every resource allocation decision, in every AI rollout that skips the people doing the work. When a high performer watches their organization invest heavily in AI and sees those tools go everywhere except to them, the nervous system does not conclude they forgot about me. It concludes, I am not the priority. And here is what happens the moment the nervous system reaches that conclusion. Three things stop: creative thinking, discretionary effort, and loyalty. Not because the employee decides to withhold them, because the nervous system shifts into a protective state. In threat environments, the brain conserves resources. It stops generating ideas that might not be used. It stops going beyond what's required. It stops investing emotionally in a place it has read as unsafe. That Reddit post is the science made visible. Trust in my direct manager is the only thing keeping me here. That employee is not talking about a great performance review. They are not talking about a career development conversation. They are describing one regulated human who is still sending safety signals in an environment where everything else is sending threat signals. The AI access divide is one of those threat signals, and right now it's running at scale across organizations that think they are executing a technology strategy. What is this costing you? Let me give you the numbers. I know executive audiences need the data alongside the neuroscience. Atlassian published research this week alongside the Gartner finding. 89% of executives say AI has sped up their work. Only 6% can point to actual results. Sit with that. 89% say faster, 6% can show the outcome. This is not a productivity gain. That is a speed trap. The executive layer is moving faster. The rest of the organization is watching. The gap between leadership velocity and team capacity is widening. And the metric the board gets looks great until the results do not match it. Deloitte's 2026 Human Capital Report adds the human layer. 56% of organizations design their AI strategy for business outcomes only. 42% of workers say their organizations are not evaluating AI's impact on people at all. Not evaluating it, 42%. These are not organizations that tried and failed to support their people through AI change. These are organizations that did not include people in the calculation to start with. And then they wonder why the ROI is not materializing. They are looking for the answer in the technology stack. The answer is in the nervous system of every person who was told to adopt without being given safety. AI HR 2026 data shows that 75% of employees are not confident using AI day to day. Not resistant, not refusing, not confident. They were never given the regulated environment to learn in. They were given a mandate and a deadline. A mandate without safety does not produce adoption. It produces performance theater. And that Reddit post from earlier in the week, the one with 1,247 upvotes about performance theater, the one where employees say they are faking AI usage because their jobs depend on adoption scores, that post and the access divide post are the same story from two different angles. DDI's global leadership forecast tells us leader preparedness for change dropped from 25% to 13% in 5 years. Less than 1 in 7 leaders feels prepared to lead the transformation they are being asked to lead. When the leaders at the top are dysregulated under the pressure of board mandates, the regulation collapses through the whole system. The team has no one to co-regulate with. Compliance replaces engagement. Quiet compliance is not a good sign. It's a nervous system in shutdown. Now let me bring this to retention, because this is where the cost becomes irreversible. CEO departures hit a record 20,221 in 2024, according to Challenger's Gray and Christmas. When the most visible leaders are cycling out at that rate, the signal it sends through the organization is the following: nobody at the top is stable. And when the regulated leaders leave, which they do, because regulated leaders have options, the high performers follow. Not immediately, they leave in stages. First, the Reddit post with 1,156 upvotes, that employee is describing the last tether. One manager, one regulated human. That is what stands between their best work and their exit. You cannot recruit your way out of a nervous system problem. So what regulated leaders do differently, or what can be the solution? Here is the number that should be in every AI business case that goes to a board. DDI found that organizations with regulated leaders produce 2.6 times the financial performance of organizations with dysregulated leaders. 2.6 times, not 10% better, not a marginal lift, but 2.6 times the performance. And it's not coming from a better AI tool. It's coming from a nervous system that creates the safety conditions for creative thinking, discretionary effort, and loyalty to exist. Scott Hutchison wrote in Inc. magazine in February that trust is a biological state. Trust is not a feeling, not a culture metric, a state. Your brain continuously asks, am I safe here? And every action your leader takes either answers yes or answers no. There is no neutral answer. Every decision about who gets resources first, who gets explained to, who gets the safety to fail and try again. Those decisions are nervous system signals. They answer the question all day, every day. The axis divide answers no. It does not have to be deliberate. The nervous system does not evaluate intent. It treats the environment. So what does a regulated leader do? First, they read the nervous system signal before the resignation letter arrives. A regulated leader notices when a high performer who used to be first to push back goes quiet. Quiet is not peace. In a nervous system that has shifted into protection mode, quiet is shut down. The regulated leader does not wait for the annual engagement survey to find out why they can't see in the room right now. Second, they close the access gap before it becomes a trust gap. This is not about rushing the IT rollout. It's about advocating visibility for their team's access. It's about creating the psychological safety to experiment with new tools before competence is expected. It's about saying out loud, we are figuring this out together. You're not behind. We are learning. That sentence said once in a team meeting with genuine regulation behind it changes the nervous system read of the entire AI rollout. Third, they regulate themselves first. This is the part most leadership development programs skip entirely. You cannot co-regulate a dysregulated team if you are dysregulated yourself. You cannot give what you don't have. The nervous system follows the most regulated person in the room. If that person is you, your team has a safe harbor. If that person is no one, the threat environment runs the culture. That is what my brain method addresses for executives working through AI transformation, not the tools. The nervous system layer underneath the tools, because until that layer is regulated, no AI strategy lands the way it was designed to. The tools can be perfect. If the human layer is running on threat, the tools become liability. The access divide is fixable. The nervous system damage it creates, if left unaddressed, is not fixed by closing the access gap later. The trust has to be rebuilt from scratch. And rebuilding trust in a nervous system that has decided it's not the priority takes way longer than the damage took to create. The math is simple, 2.6 times. That is not a wellness talking point. That is a financial performance multiplier. And it starts with one regulated leader who reads the signal before the Reddit. That is what AI transformation actually requires from its leaders. I want to leave you with this. That Reddit post is not a data point. It's a dispatch from inside your organization. One high performer on a Friday night telling the internet that one manager is the only thread still holding them in. Not the brand, not the strategy, not the AI roadmap, one regulated human. That's it. One regulated human. If you are building an AI strategy right now, and you are not asking who has access and who is watching, you are asking the wrong question first. And if you want to understand how regulated your own leadership nervous system is before you take that question to your organization, I have a conversation for that. It's called Leadership Clarity Call. It's a free 30 minutes I offer you. No pitch, I don't sell you anything. Just clarity on where you are and what is actually needed next. You can book it through the link down into the notes of this episode. My name is Sahar Andrade, your AI Whisperer. This is AI Cafe Conversation Podcast, the only podcast that ties between AI, leadership, and neuroscience. Our next episode is Friday, Forbes article like the short edition. But before I go, like I always say, show me some love. Save, subscribe, comment, rate our podcast because that helps us a lot. I really appreciate it. Share it with someone that is going through AI adoption. Save it for later for you. If you need any help, you can reach out to my website, saharconsulting.com. Show me some love. That's all I say. Till I see you on Friday, next Friday, peace out.
1,